I'm going to be taking you through 2 examples of 6-mark AO3 questions. So these are our analysis questions. So when you're doing an analysis question, you want to be looking for patterns and trends, using evidence and data to back up those trends, looking for anomalies and making links either between different figures or within figures if you only have one figure. A useful acronym to use is the PEDAL acronym. So we're looking for patterns and trends, using evidence and data to support those. Can we find any anomalies? You won't always be able to find anomalies, so don't go searching for them if there's nothing obvious there. And then making links. You do not want to use your own knowledge in this question. So you don't need to have any explanations for anything you've said. So for example, in this question, if you have identified that in 2009 we have got this spit which has formed on the western coast, you wouldn't then go on to explain the formation of spits. I find it useful to annotate the images or graphs or figures or the data before I start writing out my answer. So here I would start to annotate, okay, so in 2005, we have this small beach. Using the key down here, I can see that it's about 2 kilometres long on the north shore. And here in the graph, we can see that it's 1.6 kilometres squared. In 2009, this beach has increased. So it's now covering the whole of the North Shore and it's starting to come down the western coast as well. And we can see here that it's nearly increased 5 times in volume. So we've got this beach has increased. By 2013, it's maybe not that noticeable on the pictures that it's continued to increase. It does look a bit bigger here. But if we look at the bar graph, we can see that it's increased again. So we've got this general trend of deposition here increasing. General trend of increasing deposition. We can also see this with the mud flats and the tidal flats. These have also increased. They've nearly doubled in size from 2009 to 2013. We've then got this spit in 2009, which is by far the largest landform. So we can see that here on the bar graph, it's 2 kilometres squared in area. However, unlike the others, it completely disappears by 2013. So we've identified a slight anomaly here. So now that I've annotated my images, I'm going to start writing out my answer. It's really important that you actually analyse and you don't just explain or describe the data that you're seeing. So using words such as the majority, the least, the main will help you make sure that you're actually analysing it rather than just describing it. So this is the answer that I've written out. So I'm going to read it through and show you where this would get marks. So I started off by saying overall sediment deposition and landforms are increasing from 2005 to 2013. So we get an AO3 mark here. We've identified a pattern. Once I've identified my pattern, I need to remember to try and back this up with some evidence and data and try and manipulate the data. So I've said this can be seen with the beach. In 2005, it is only found along a 2 kilometre section of the North Shore. So here I'm using all the available information that I have. I'm using the scale and I'm using my north, south, east, west. It covers an area of 1.6 kilometres squared. So I'm now using the bar graph. So I've made a link. By 2009, it covers the whole North Shore, and there is also a large beach south of the River Barham on the west coast. It has increased by 6.8 kilometres squared, which is an increase of 5 times. So lots of links between the data, and I've also manipulated some data. The mudflats and tidal flats also show this pattern, appearing in 2009 and then doubling in size by 2013. An anomaly is the spit. Okay, so now I'm going to find an anomaly. This is the largest landform. It's much bigger than the other landforms. However, it does not continue to increase in size. By 2013, it has completely disappeared. So I've explained my anomaly. On the next slide, there is another answer. You could have a go at marking yourselves. I now have another question that I'm going to go through annotating and giving suggestions of how you could answer this question, and then you can have a go at writing it yourselves. Feel free to rewind back when you're writing it, and you can pause and try and use what I'm saying to help you write your answer. So in this image, we've got the spit at West Wittering, and it's showing areas of accretion, so where the land is getting higher, and areas of erosion, where the land is getting smaller. So the first thing I've noticed is there's actually a very similar amount of erosion and accretion. It doesn't seem to me obvious that one is greater than the other. The next general sort of pattern I notice is that the majority of erosion occurs on the western side of the spit and the majority of accretion on the eastern side. This is especially noticeable around the spit head and spit tip. So I've identified this pattern, so now I would need to use some data to back this up. Erosion on the western side of spit head is up to around 1 metre, minus 1 metre, so the land is decreasing by about a metre. In the eastern side, we've got accretion, and it is increasing by, I'd say, around 1 to 1.5 metres. So we've got a difference of around 2 metres of the land changing height between the erosion and the accretion around spit head. There is an anomaly here. So we've got this very narrow band around 50 kilometres where we've got exceptionally high rates of erosion, up to minus 3 metres. I've then noticed that really in Spitneck and Cacomb, we've got mostly just accretion. And the accretion rates here generally seem to be between 0.5 metres and 1 metre. Between these two areas, so around the Hinge and in West Wittering, we've got mostly erosion. These rates are up to minus 1.5 metres. So this maybe suggests that the rates of erosion here are higher or greater than the accretion found along Spitneck and Cakem. So now I've had a go at analysing the image. Have a go at trying to write your answers. So remember to use the PEDAL acronym. So find a pattern or a trend, then back that up with evidence and make sure you use data. Are there any anomalies? And make sure you're making links within the question or within the resource. So that means you need to use this key here, your scale, your north arrow, and these names. Use the names in your answer as well. Make sure you use everything that is available to you.